I'm here today representing the gallery committee as we prepare for our next show. And it's going to be an exhibit of artwork from our congregation. So I'd like to ask you to all consider submitting a selfie. But before you pull out your mobile phones and snap a photo of yourself, let me explain. The legendary photographer Richard Avedon began his career in the middle of the last century as a fashion photographer. At that time, photography was struggling to be accepted as an art by the greater art community, but he was elevating the lowly commercial world of fashion photography to a fine art. He later entered the world of portrait photography with a splash, with many very different and sometimes controversial portraits. He once said about his portrait work, "My portraits are much more about me than they are about the people I photograph." Many would contend that what he says about portrait photography is true, but not just for portrait photography, but all photography and indeed all art endeavors. Artists are creating work that, at least in part, reveal their personal responses to what they see happening in the world, in their communities, in their environment, and the world in which they live. So the gallery team is asking you to create and submit art that is driven by your response to this season's sermon series, Making Room, how God is calling us to make room for all people in our lives, our church, our community, and our country. This show should be a wonderful and diverse exhibition about inclusion and, as Richard Avedon would say, a revealing self-portrait of our congregation, a congregational selfie, if you will, of our members and their insights into the message of making room for us all. So please consider submitting your artwork, any medium, be it painting, sculpture, ceramic, fabric art, glass art, photography, woodworking, any type of art, on any subject. But it has to be art that reveals to the world your unique insight into how God calls you to make space for all people. The deadline for the submission is Sunday, October 26th. Bring your work to the library before either the early service or the late service, whichever you prefer, and bring a piece of paper with the title, your name, the title of the piece, and the type of medium you use to create your art. The exhibit will be on display for the months of November and December, and please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you so much.